Hi everybody and welcome to IPT 286. This is the online section for people in FACS Ed. So if you are not in FACS Ed, this is not the right section for you. Get in touch with me or whoever's teaching your lab or somebody and so we can help you get into the right section. I'll explain more about these sections later. So, first of all, my name is Christian, like the boy's name. I am your teacher. I am a master's student in instructional psychology and technology, IPT. Actually, that's not true. I'm a PhD student now. Yeah. So, I'm a PhD student, but I'm brand new, so I'm still getting used to that. This is my husband. His name is Austin. We don't have any kids or pets. We do have some houseplants that I'm trying really hard not to kill, but it's going kind of poorly. I love to travel. This is me in Budapest a long time ago, probably 5 years ago now. And I love to do yoga. Yoga's my new hobby. This is me standing on my head. Or actually, I don't know. It's a headstand. And this is my newest yoga accomplishment, so I'm pretty excited about that. I'm from Hawaii. Laie, specifically the North Shore of Oahu. And my research interest is blended learning, which we're going to talk about a little more later. And as it turns out, most things in my life are blended because I research blended learning, and my husband is a manufacturing engineer, and he works for a company called Blendtec, and they make blenders. And this is our blender that I love. It's magical. This thing, if you've ever been around a Blendtec blender, they're kind of loud. They're kind of a lot loud. But this thing makes it quiet so I can blend all day and all night and not bother anybody. It's wonderful. Yes. So that's me, and this is my third time teaching this class. The first time I co-taught with our real full-grown professor, and this is my second time teaching the class on my own. And of course, this time we have a TA, Danielle. And obviously Danielle is not here making this video with me, but if we were in class, she would introduce herself, and maybe I'll have her make a little something to introduce you to her as well, because she'll be participating with us online here. So, the purpose of this class is to prepare you as teachers to use technology effectively in your classroom. We're doing this, and your schools are looking for this, and BYU is looking for this because, as I'm sure you've noticed throughout your lives, and especially in the last few years, technology is everywhere. All over the country, all over the world, people of all ages and all different parts of society and our lives are using technology. People have computers and cell phones and who knows what else. And it's part of the business world, it's part of our personal lives, but it's also part of the way that we educate adults and the way that we educate children. So, of course, specifically what we're focusing on is technology and educating secondary ed students, the ones that you'll be teaching. So hopefully throughout this class, we'll be able to learn together about the different ways that technology can be useful for you in your classrooms. So there are some things that make it hard to use technology in your classroom, and we're here to try to help you to be able to deal with those things. So first of all, it's hard to change. You'll probably find with teachers that have been teaching for a long time that are set in their ways. They're not going to want to change. And it's the same with parents that have expected education to be a certain way. That's the way they were taught, and that's a good way. But so sometimes people will be a little apprehensive about making changes. Technology is often very expensive, and though we're finding in a lot of cases it's just as or more cost effective to replace some of the materials, the less technologically advanced materials like textbooks that we're using with other things like iPads. There our parents already talked about them. Another thing that a lot of people worry about and deal with is a loss of control in their classroom, because if you hand out a bunch of iPads to a bunch of freshmen, you may lose all of them. Soon they'll be playing Angry Birds, and off it goes. So that's something that we'll talk about. And also time. First time first of all, teachers are very busy and don't have time to learn every new technology and figure out how it's going to fit in their classroom. And second of all, there is limited time in the classroom, and we want to use it as effectively as possible. So we want to use technology when it makes sense, and we want to not use technology when it doesn't make sense, so that teachers can use their time to the best of their abilities. Oh, I stole all of these comics from our professor. They're pretty funny. I appreciate the text, Kate, but next time you can just raise your hand. Okay, so one of the goals of this class is to gain digital literacy, because like this quote says, it's not feasible for anybody to know everything about every technology, or even some things about every technology, because there's so many technologies already out there, and there are more every day. So you as teachers will need to pick and choose the technologies that are most useful for you in your classrooms, the ones that you're most interested in, the ones that are going to be available for you, and we're going to focus on those kind of technologies: cheap, accessible, easy to use technologies. But also we want you to learn how to learn. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. So the goal here is not to make you an expert in every single thing. It's to get you ready to tackle technologies on your own. So here we go, goals of the class. We want to learn some technology skills that you can use. We're going to be doing several different projects that we've identified as being especially useful to secondary ed teachers like yourselves, and we'll be tailoring those in this online section to things that are useful for FACS teachers. We want you to create a portfolio of things you can take with you. So if when you're in an interview with a principal or something like that, and he says, you know, I'm really interested in X technology, or how we can use Y in the classroom, you can show him what you've done and say, oh, I know how to do that. That's not going to be a problem for me. Again, we want you to learn how to learn new technologies, and we want you to be confident in yourselves. So the goal here is for everybody to learn, everybody to do well. I'm not out to get a perfect bell curve. If you all got 100%, that would be awesome. So I just really want... And there are, some technologies are going to be harder than others. Some things are going to be harder for some people than they are for others, etc., etc. Everybody's different. Everybody's experience is going to be different. But I want all of you to succeed, and I want all of you to be confident in yourselves in the end of this class. Be ready to tackle these technologies that we're learning and other technologies that are going to come your way.